Hey, squirrel friends. Oops, forgot my lights back here. You know how I am about my lights. Ooh, I forgot to turn that lamp on over there, too. I'm just forgetting everything this morning. I think I need to go back to bed. I hope I don't read myself to sleep, because I am sleepy. Chapter 25, Enter Prince Charming. I also forgot my water. I'm contrasting the claims of indoors and out, said Anne, looking from the window of Patty's place to the distant pines of the park. I've an afternoon to spend in sweet doing nothing, Aunt Jimsy. Shall I spend it here where there is cozy fire, a plate full of delicious russets, 3 purring and harmonious cats, and 2 impeccable china dogs with green noses, I thought they were cats. Or shall I go to the park where there is the lure of gray woods and of gray water lapping on the harbor rocks? If I was as young as you, I'd decide in favor of the park, said Aunt Jamesina, tickling Joseph's yellow ear with a knitting needle. I thought that you claimed to be as young as any of us, Auntie, teased Anne. Yes, in my soul, but I'll admit my legs aren't as young as yours. You go and get some fresh air, Anne. You look pale lately. I think I will go to the park, said Anne restlessly. I don't feel like tame domestic joys today. I want to feel alone and free and wild. The park will be empty, for everyone will be at the football match. Why didn't you go to it? Nobody asked me. Oops, why didn't she say that? And nobody asked me, she said. At least, nobody but that horrid little Dan Ranger. I wouldn't go anywhere with him, but rather than hurt his poor little feelings, I said I wasn't going to the game at all. I don't mind. I'm not in the mood for football today somehow. You go and get some fresh air, repeated Aunt Jamesina. Take your umbrella, for I believe it's going to rain. I've rheumatism in my leg. Only old people should have rheumatism, Auntie. Anybody's liable to get rheumatism in their legs, and it's only old people who should have rheumatism in their souls, though. Thank goodness I never have. When you get rheumatism in your soul, you might as well go and pick out your coffin. It was November, the month of crimson sunsets, parting birds, deep sad hymns of the song, passionate wind songs in the pines. Anne roamed through the pine land alleys in the park, and as she said, let that great sweeping wind blow the fogs out of her soul. Anne was not wont to be troubled with soul fog, but somehow since her return to Redmond for this 3rd year, life had not been mirrored her spirit back to her with its old perfect sparkling clearness. Outwards, existence at Patty's place was the sure pleasant round of work and study and recreation that it had always been. On Friday evenings, the big, fire-lighted living room was crowded by callers and echoed to endless jest and laughter, while Jamesina smiled beamingly on them all. The Jonas of Phil's letter, came often, running up from St. Columbia on the early train and departing on the late. He was as a general favorite at Patty's place, though Aunt Jamesina shook her head and opined that divinity students were not what they used to be. "He's very nice, my dear," she told Phil, "but ministers ought to be grayer and more dignified. Can a man laugh and be a Christian still?" demanded Phil. "Oh, men, yes, but I was speaking of ministers, my dear," said Aunt Jamesina rebukingly. "And you shouldn't flirt so with Mr. Blake. You really shouldn't." I'm, I'm not flirting with him," protested Phil. Nobody believed her except Anne. The others thought she was amusing herself as usual and told her roundly that she was behaving very badly. "Mr. Blake isn't of the Alec Alonzo type, Phil," and said Stella severely. "He takes things seriously. You may break his heart." Do you really think I could?" asked Phil. "I'd love to think so." "Philippa Gordon, I never thought you were utterly unfeeling. The idea of you saying you'd love to break a man's heart. I didn't dare say. I didn't. I didn't say so, honey. Quote me correctly. I said I'd like to think I could break it. I would like to know I had the power to give it." "I didn't understand you, Phil. You're leading that man on deliberately, and you know you don't mean anything by it." "I mean to make him ask me to marry him if I can," said Phil calmly. "I give you up," said Stella hopelessly. Gilbert came round occasionally on Friday evenings. He seemed always in good spirits and held his own in the jests and repartee that flew about. He neither sought nor avoided Anne. When consequences brought them in contact, he talked to her pleasantly and courteously as to any newly made acquaintance. The old camaraderie was gone entirely. Anne felt it keenly, but she told herself she was very glad and thankful that Gilbert. God, I'm getting sleepy. Woo-wee! Oh, comrade. But she told herself she was very glad and thankful that Gilbert had got so completely over his disappointment in regard to her. She had recently been afraid that April evening in the orchard that she had hurt him terribly, and that the wound would be long in healing. Now she saw that she need not have worried. Men have died, and worms have eaten them, but not for long. Gilbert evidently was in no danger of immediate disillusion. He was enjoying life, and he was full of ambition for zest. For him, there was to be no wasting in despair because a woman was fair and cold. And as she listened to the ceaseless badinage that went on between him and Phil, wondered if she had only imagined that look in his eyes when he had tossed him. When she had told him she could never care for him. There were not lacking those who would gladly have stepped into Gilbert's vacant place, but Anne stubbed them without fear and without reproach. If the real Prince Charming was never to come, she would have none of the substitute. So she sternly told herself that gray day in the windy park. Okay, so what I said before. Suddenly, the rain of Aunt Jamesina's property came down with a swish and a rush, and pushed up on the on pushed and put up her umbrella and hurried down the slope. As she turned out the harbor road, a savage gust of wind tore along it. Instantly, her umbrella turned wrong side out and clucked at it. And clucked at it in despair, and then there came a voice close to her. "Pardon me, may I offer you the shelter of my umbrella?" Anne looked up, tall and handsome and distinguished, looking dark, melancholy, inscrutable, eyes melting, musician, sympathetic voice, yes, the very hero of her dreams, stood before her in the flesh. He could not have been more closely resembled her ideal if he had been made to order. "Thank you," she said confusedly. "We'd better hurry over to that little pavilion on the point," suggested the unknown. "We can wait there until the shower is over. It's not likely to rain so heavily very long." The words were very much commonplace, but oh, the tone and the smile which accompanied them, Anne felt her heart beating strangely. Together they scurried to the pavilion and sat breathlessly down under its friendly roof. Anne laughingly held up her false umbrellas. It is when my umbrella turns inside out that I am convinced of the total depravity of inanimate things," she said gaily. Guys, I'm going to have to stop there. I hate it. Maybe I can come back on later today and read it. I need my water jug and I need to wake up. I hate it. Whatever this yarn thing is, I hope they get yarn thing. What the heck am I talking about? Talking in my sleep. I don't know what I was going to say. I have no clue. Okay, now I'm trying to find out. Okay, that's where we were. Sorry about that, y'all. I went to sleep on you. I went to sleep. Kinda. Talking in my sleep. And I will see y'all not today because today is Tuesday, but I'll probably see you around. Try to get to Zoom again. I got there twice yesterday. Only got to see one of the birthday girls though. So we had 2 birthdays among our group, which you can be a part of too if you want to. It's Sharon's Crochet Corner. Go to her channel and she'll have info about how to get in her room and probably the password and all that, or either you'll have to, I don't know. I'm sure she, I don't know what I'm saying. Anyway, she'll give you the information so you can join us. God, let me get off here. I hope I can edit this part out. Anyway, I love you. Be sweet. Don't be ugly. I got to take a nap. Bye-bye.